Do you want to brand authentically? What? Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I'm your host, Dupree, scouring the globe to bring you stories of courage, passion, and resilience. If I could sum up this podcast into one word, I would use empathy. Now let's get inspired. Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I am your host, Dupree, here to rock until the party just won't stop. Yes, this is episode 13 of the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I'm excited for today's interview. It was one of my favorites to listen to, but then again, all of them are my favorites, aren't they? Yes. This week, before I get down to the interview, I've been thinking a lot about leadership and what it means to be a leader. Because of how I'm going in my life, if you listened to my last episode, you heard me talk about the Lightworker Toastmasters and what it means to be a leader in the Lightworker Toastmasters, how that has been one of the most successful things I have ever done. Yesterday, we threw a charter party, which was a celebration because first, the Lightworker Toastmasters was an idea, and then I put it into action, and yesterday was a time to celebrate. Even though it feels like our second or third celebration of the charter, I thought it'd be time to sit back and relax and enjoy the charter. Though we did have Aaron Loman-Jack, a TEDx speaker, transformational speaking coach, come in and speak. Somebody who I met a few years ago and decided that I want to learn from her. So I thought to myself, if I create a crowd, maybe she will show up. And she did, and gave a pretty good presentation for 45 minutes. Everyone seemed to enjoy it, which that's the purpose there, and able to turn it back into what it means to be a Lightworker Toastmaster. Lightworker, someone who shines light into the darkness, people who want to make an impact in this world, because that's what I want to do. I've been told that I do that. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way because I work a regular 9-to-5 job, and most of my making impact is part-time, to say the best, or when I have time, or through Toastmasters. However, people have told me that through my posts on Facebook and all my videos that I've made and the speeches that I've given, that I have made an impact on their life. And that feels good. But one area I really want to start making an impact even more so is being a leader, being someone who stands out in front. And it's one thing that Toastmasters has really helped me do, is step up as a leader. Because at first I didn't want to be a leader. When I was a young lad of high school age, all I wanted to do was sit in the back of the class. Just kidding, because that's where the cool kids would sit. I want to sit kind of in the middle because nobody pays attention to kind of in the middle. See, the people who absolutely don't want to pay attention and talk all the time, they want to sit in the back. Those are the people and teachers and classmates, people pay attention to those people. And the people in the front, of course, are the eager learners, the people who want to talk to the teachers. Yeah, those are the front people. But the middle, especially like the middle side, if you want to hide, that's where you sit. And it's the same with the bus. You never want to sit in front. You never want to sit in back. You always want to sit in that sweet, sweet middle where no one would ever pay attention. I once kind of got a leadership role. Well, kind of. Actually did get a leadership role in high school. I felt it was mostly by default when I was a wrestling captain. My senior year for the wrestling team. Why do I feel that was mostly by default? Because in reality, I was the best senior wrestler. And there were only 5 seniors total. And there could only be 2 captains. And of those 2 seniors, we were the only 2 starters. We were only 2 first string. So the 2 best became naturally the captains. And I did my best, which wasn't very good. I was mostly kind of a bully. It's the only time I guess I could. That was one of the weird parts about anxiety. Yeah, I was a bully. Why sugarcoat it? I wasn't a super huge jerk bully, but I wasn't good. Not really proud of that. So yeah, that was my stint in leadership, not being very good at it. As a wrestling captain. And then going into a career where I was a software tester. And the reality is software testers kind of like the long snappers of the tech world. Basically, you don't know who they are until, they mess up and there's a big defect or bug out in the world and developer doesn't get the blame. You do because it's your job to catch it. But it wasn't until Toastmasters where I got thrust against my will into leadership. I started off as a secretary and then vice president of education and then president and then president. This is my fourth stint as a real Toastmasters, leading edge, Kirkland Eclectics. Yeah, Lightworker Toast. This is going to be my fourth stint as a president. Somebody who never wanted to be a leader is now president for the fourth time. And honestly, I probably could have been president of the Bauer Speakeasies if I tried and asked, as they saw me as a mentor, as one of the people who have been a Toastmaster for a while. And yeah, it amazes me that people kind of look up to me. People are intimidated to evaluate me. It's silly, especially when you know where I started and know who I am. So thinking about leadership and what kind of leader I want to be, what it means to be a leader, I've been listening to Brene Brown's latest book, Daring to Lead. It is a good book. She says it right in the beginning. It's probably 50 to 60% of stuff you've heard before if you listen to Brene Brown, but kind of just repackage and put into Leader with some new stories and some new thoughts. But at the same time, it's a book that if it's your first Brene Brown book, you can pick it up and go with it. And if you listen and you're a fan like me, you can totally see the value of taking her work and really focus on what it means to be a leader, what it means to really talk about the tough things. I've only had one tough conversation as a Lightworker Toastmasters as one of the people. I don't really want to go too much into it. Doesn't seem to be looking out. And I had a conversation, and some people were thinking that maybe this person should step away. Myself, I just wanted to work out and want to figure out how to work it out. At least I wanted to try before ending it. I mean, I think that's the thing about Toastmasters that really does not get played up enough, is that Toastmasters is a safe place to fail. It's a safe place to mess up. It's a safe place to kind of have those tough conversations, because if you do a job that's beyond you and you don't do a good job, you're not fired. Or if you are let go, you can pay your bills. It's a good place to go and crash, fall on your face, because it's safe. And that's something I really want to bring in the Lightworker Toastmasters and empowerment. I don't want to be a micromanager, a type of person who thinks to themselves, if I don't do it correct, and then nobody can do it or it won't get done. Which is understandable, especially in Toastmasters, because the Toastmasters is a volunteer organization and you have almost all of the pressures of being in a big time job without any of the pay. And also you don't, since it is volunteer, it's not like you have a lot of candidates for certain positions, especially once you get down to area director. You're pretty much stuck sometimes with the person who wants it, who's willing to do it, which is too bad, because honestly, as somebody who's right now the District 2 Public Relations Manager, even doing that has been an amazing learning experience and stretching experience, and trying to figure out what exactly I want to do and how I want to do it and how I'm perceived by people and how to kind of stand myself up as a leader and be a leader, you know? So watching some people's leadership styles and researching leadership styles, the thing that really stands out to me is I want to be a leader, and I'm working towards it. A leader who empowers, always encourages, always tells people what a good job they did, even when they didn't do that good a job. But instead of trying to frame it in a way of, yes, you did it, and now here's way you can improve it. Here's what you can do better next time. You did great now because you stepped out of your comfort zone. You became better because of this moment, because of what you did, because of the way you stepped up, you're better. But now here's how we take it to the next level. I want anyone I ever work with to feel better. That's one of my goals in life. Every interaction with me that I have, the person feels better afterwards. I mean, I don't always succeed. And the reality is, it has nothing to do with me. All I could be is me. And it's up to them to feel better, because I honestly don't have that power to change somebody. I just have the power and space to give them a safe place to help their growth, because that's the way I view growth, really. is it's an individual thing, but people take us to the next level. But it's always up to us, each individual person, such as you, to take that step. It's all about empowerment. It's all about making the world a better place, one person at a time or many people at a time, if you're able to do that, to make that impact. I don't care what you do. I just saw this amazing video of these fifth graders. I think they're fifth graders. It's hard to tell. That's one of the problems with growing up. Now that I'm 40, it's really hard to tell if a kid is 9 or 5, especially when you just look at a bunch. But it was a janitor. It was a janitor where all the children gave this rounding applause and celebrated like International Janitor Day or something. Or maybe they made it up because this janitor every day would fist bump the kids, ask them about their day, try to make them happier. And even the teachers, even as a janitor, his goal was to brighten everybody's day. You don't have to be a manager. You don't have to be a life coach. You don't have to be Tony freaking Robbins. Cusses so much. I just started listening to his podcast. Sometimes like half the words are just beeped out. Man, cussing up a storm there, Tony. You don't have to be that. You could be you and work on building people up. In fact, that is what's truly missing in the world today on a grand scale. Too many of us want to bring each other down. And I understand. I definitely understand. Sometimes I'm pretty much liberal to the point of socialist. And when I see Trump up there saying dumb things, racist things, climate denying things, because yes, I believe in climate change. And then I know good, trustworthy, well-meaning people who vote for him, I've had conversations with them, and then they'll call Black Lives Matter a terrorist organization. And it's hard sometimes to not want to bring them down because I don't know if they understand really what they're saying, or at least what it means to me, what they're saying. But I know in my heart of hearts that doesn't help. Even though I know I am not 100% good at it. Even though I know I mostly unfriend most of my conservative friends off Facebook because honestly, I don't want to read their stuff. I don't want to read memes about making fun of the Parkland survivors when all they want to do is stop more school shootings. I don't want to read memes that make fun of children being kept in concentration camps or people defending it. But I know that I make a better impact in my life when I bring people up. Fabian Fredrickson, a motivational life coach, Boldheart, I believe her company is now. She works on helping people get their messages out there. Always said, a rising tide raises all ships. And if we truly work together to raise each other up, to make us feel better, to make us feel the connection we need. Because if you look at drug addicts or people, a lot of times that's a symptom of loneliness. And if we truly connect with each other, get down and talk with each other and raise each other up instead of bringing each other down, and be our true authentic selves without blame, without shame, without anger, without hate, then we truly can create a heaven on earth. And speaking of a heaven on earth and authenticity, let's talk about our guest, Jill Celeste. Yes, Jill Celeste. I actually met her at a mastermind group. She is authentic. I enjoy watching her videos. Part of her Facebook group, The Celestial Circle. She's great. Jill Celeste, M.A., is a best-selling author, marketing teacher, and founder of the Celestial Circle. A self-proclaimed entrepreneurial cheerleader, Jill teaches authentic marketing fundamentals to purpose-driven entrepreneurs. Jill's teachings focus on one belief: that all entrepreneurs must embrace their role as director of marketing for their businesses. When entrepreneurs do this, their businesses will thrive. So now is my treat to you, my interview with Jill Celeste. Hello, Jill Celeste. Welcome to my podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Brett Dupree. It's good to be here.
Yeah. It's nice to see you again, I guess, or hear you again.
Hear each other.
So it says here that you are a founder of the Celestial Circle and an entrepreneurial cheerleader.
Yes.
How did you get into that?
So I started being an entrepreneur back in 2010. I opened a social media marketing agency back then, but I learned quite quickly that I'm not the one you want implementing your social media. I wasn't in my unique brilliance. And what I really loved to do was coach marketing. So in 2013, I started my coaching business, which has evolved and ebbed and flowed, right? Like businesses do. Now, fast forward to today, I am still teaching marketing. But what I have found is that people, and entrepreneurs in particular, they need someone to be a cheerleader for them, like to root them on and say, I believe in you, because it's such a lonely job sometimes. And so that's a lot of what I do in my coaching practice.
Early on, did you find your entrepreneurial path to be lonely?
It did. At the time, I was the only one in my family who was an entrepreneur. I didn't have any entrepreneurial friends. I still had work colleagues. I really think everybody at first thought I was crazy for opening a business. And so I really didn't have anybody to talk to share frustrations or disappointments or just even kind of ask questions. I felt very alone. I just kind of sat in a little office with my dog and I worked. It wasn't until a couple of years later when I joined a mastermind that I realized that I was missing that piece from my business.
So what got you started into wanting to go into social media marketing?
Well, back then in 2010, social media marketing was sort of a new thing. And I was a social media manager at the job I had in a large healthcare organization. And as I was paying an invoice to another agency for thousands of dollars, I thought, I could do this. And it really just kind of stuck a little bug in my ear, and I started to investigate it. And once that idea set root, I was able to quit my job in 4 months. I brought that business up on the side, just happened to hit that social media wave at the right time. And I was very blessed to be able to do it full time within 4 months of opening the doors.
Wow, that is a lot of success right away. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I attribute a lot of it to my tenacity, my determination, some really good timing as well, some good luck, I think, but really, really working backwards and knowing, okay, I need to make this much money. I need to be able to compensate for this. And all of these different ducks I put in a row, be able to reverse engineer that process. And I was able to do it.
So as you working through social media marketing, you came to a point where you just noticed that this wasn't my area of brilliance.
And the actual implementation was, I can do it. I was okay at it. No one complained about what I offered, but it didn't make my heart sing. But what was making my heart sing was when I get on the phone with my client and I teach them marketing, because I had been a marketing professional for years in corporate. I would teach them what I know, and that really felt so good. And so finally, after doing it for a couple of years and having a very successful job with it, I decided that to open up a coaching arm of my business. And from there, I just took off.
Did you have any fears or anxieties about starting actually a coaching business?
Oh, I was yes, 1,000 times yes. It's a different thing when you're coaching and teaching, in my opinion, and you probably know this too from your business. It's, you don't want to do someone wrong. You don't want to give bad advice. You feel like that person's really depending on you to, especially when you're a marketing coach, to really teach them how to market their businesses so that they can become a success. So it's a lot of pressure, at least self-imposed pressure. And that caused me a lot of anxiety for sure.
How did you deal with that anxiety?
Xanax? No, I'm just kidding. Well, it was interesting when I reflect back on it. The more I did it, the more confident I got. So that decreased my anxiety, right? I was able to become more confident in my ways and in my teaching. I worked on my mindset a lot, a lot of research, a lot of work in what mindset and different types of new age theories and things. I was trying to kind of finding my way, but just realizing that I needed to have my self-worth in order and my self-confidence in order, and that nothing bad was really going to happen to me. And by just staying very present and not focusing on the past and the future, but just staying really in the present helped me. I wasn't, of course, completely anxiety-free, but it helped me dissipate it to enough where I could overcome it enough to go forward. It didn't paralyze me like it wanted to.
What about being in the present helped you to reduce your anxiety?
Well, as somebody who follows mindfulness, there's really no past. There's really no future. These are concoctions of our mind. But at the present, is just what's in front of you. And if you just take an inventory of your present moment and everybody's alive and around you and breathing and the house is standing and the weather's out there and you have money in the bank and like you just take a snapshot of your present life, that you find that there's really nothing to fear, nothing to hold you back. So that mindfulness by staying in the present reminded me that if I was anxious about something, that I was worrying about the future, and of which I had no control of, and it may not even turn out that way. So by cutting that line of thought off and by just staying mindful and in the present, it really dissipated any anxiety I was feeling.
Cool. And also a lot of times about the past as well.
Correct. Right. I find the past may cause more depression than anxiety, at least for me. If I were to dwell on something or whatever, even from a business perspective, like really getting hung up on a past failure, for example, I would say like clinical depression would make you sad or just kind of take you out of the vortex, out of your happy spot. And that wasn't good either.
Did you have incidents such as where something you really wanted to work and it just did not work out the way you wanted to, where you then use this mindful presence to take you out of it?
Yeah. So there were times certain clients would hire me to be like their marketing manager, like a fractional CMO or director of marketing. There was a particular client that I really wanted to do a good job for whatever reason. It wasn't happening. And it was on both sides. I started to feel anxious about my reputation and about my confidence. And I just really worked on staying present, did a lot of meditation. I remember meditating a lot. Before bed, I would listen to some guided meditation from my phone, journaling to kind of get me through that. And eventually we mutually agreed to break up, I guess, for lack of better terms. And it was so peaceful for both of us. It was an amicable break. We're still in touch with each other. So that, that shows that there wasn't any animosity, but really tapping into those basic mindfulness exercises really helped me through that period.
What do you find the hardest part about being an entrepreneur?
Well, I'm a naturally impatient person. Things don't happen as fast as I would like. And I have found through my 8+ years as an entrepreneur that that's normal, that you have to be patient. In fact, I now say that patience is the most important virtue of an entrepreneur, because we have an internal timetable that we want to meet. And sometimes we cannot meet those timetables. That's just the way it is. And often we don't give ourselves enough time. For example, for marketing, we don't give ourselves enough time to market our business. We don't give ourselves enough time for our marketing to work. We don't give ourselves enough time for clients to convert. We become impatient because we want to be a success. That doesn't always work out in the timetable we've chosen for ourselves. So patience is definitely something I have learned and am still learning here on my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, that reminds me of a saying that one of my mentors keep on telling me: the fortune's in the follow-up.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure, because we forget, like from a sales perspective, that we often need to reach out to somebody. What is it? What is the average now? It was 7 to 9. I think it might even be longer now. Time. So before someone decides to buy, well, that's an act of patience, right? As many people will give up before they finally agree to purchase from you. So just even that following up requires a lot of patience.
So I'm just feeling like a dummy right now because I just noticed that you're the founder of the Celestial Circle and your last name's Celeste.
You're not dummy. I got very, very lucky in many ways when I got married. I got a great guy and a great last name. I do play off my last name quite a bit in all of my branding. How I sort of see myself is, if you remember back in olden days when sailors used to sail and they relied on the stars for navigation, I coined myself, mostly internally, but I coined myself as sort of that North Star, leading the entrepreneurs on their entrepreneurial journey, that sea of marketing. I keep that as a remembering of why I do things. And that really helps me stay focused. But that's sort of the play off the word celestial that I use.
As a member of the Celestial Circle and been paying attention to you for the last couple of years, you've really upped your video game lately.
Yes. Thank you for noticing.
Was there any anxieties about putting yourself out there, especially doing like Facebook Lives and more videos and stuff like that?
Well, it's interesting. My video marketing journey has been quite long. I started doing videos about 3 years ago. I would do a weekly video, and I still do a weekly video for my blog. So there was a lot of anxiety, not about being on camera per se, but about the technology. How's this going to work? How can I edit it? Like all those things, because they're not in my unique brilliance. And finally I decided, who cares? Just shoot the video, be imperfect. And I've been doing that ever since. When the live streaming features came on, I had a lot of resistance because With live streaming, there's no, oh crap, let me just re-record that. There's none of that. You're going right off the cuff. So as someone who likes to come across very eloquently and very prepared, I really had to up my game on imperfection with doing live streams. And I'm really comfortable now. I've accepted that it will never be perfect. There'll be ums and ahs. Sorry, Toastmaster Brett. Ums and ahs in that process. And that's okay. People are understanding. I think people like that. They don't like anything slick. So that really helped. But again, as I mentioned before, it was about practicing and just doing it and being imperfect. And that really alleviated a lot of the anxieties that I experienced at first. And I teach that to my students now, that really it's okay to be imperfect on video. People expect it to be not slick and polished unless it's a highly produced video, but that's not what we're expecting on Facebook Live and in live streams. And that really helps people overcome that anxiety of being on camera.
You keep on mentioning about letting go of being perfect. Did you have a big problem with that at first?
Yes, because you always want your best foot forward, right? I believe that your reputation, it helps you attract the right people. I have a bit of what I call a personal branding background, where you brand your first and last name, your person as the expert. And so you want to come off well, right? You want to come off as somebody who knows her stuff. And I was translating that into perfect marketing copy, perfect videos, perfect Facebook posts, perfect graphics. And that's not really the right way to interpret it, but that's what I was doing at the time. What I learned is that perfection often means you don't implement anything because you're always trying to obtain this perfection, which doesn't even exist, right? What was happening is that there was like that analysis paralysis and nothing was getting done. So by being imperfect, you will get more things out there. You'll get more marketing tasks done. And I think as a nice, lovely byproduct is that people will see you and will resonate with you, and that will result in you getting more clients.
Another thing I keep hearing you say over and over again is the term unique brilliance. Would you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah. So what I mean by that is each of us are wired to have certain gifts. Some of us are fabulous writers. Some of us are fabulous orators. Some of us are gifted artists. Some of us can put together a computer, while others of us could not. We all have our things that we're uniquely gifted with, things that to make up you, Brett, Jill, whoever. And our jobs as entrepreneurs is to eventually, we can't always do this at first, but to eventually only do those things that are in our unique brilliance. And the things that are not in our unique brilliance, the things that we struggle with, that take us a long time to finish, somebody else would do that for us, somebody else who's uniquely brilliant in that particular task. So for example, you might do a podcast and you might be a really good interviewer, but the idea of editing that audio, you can do it, but it would be faster if somebody else did, right? So that means that you would offload that, you would outsource that to somebody. So that's what I mean by unique brilliance, is you want to be doing what you're innately good at, what you would do for free all the time because it's something that you love to do and are passionate about it. And then eventually offload or outsource, have a team to help you do the rest of it that isn't in your wheelhouse, so to speak.
How do you give up that desire to control everything?
Well, I'll let you know when I figure that out. No, I'm just kidding. I think we're all kind of control freaks, especially entrepreneurs. These are our babies, our children, whatever analogy you want to use there. And we are going to be controlling. But I think a lot of it is, again, that anxiety, because that's really what control is a fear of something not going right, a fear of something not being done, being anxious about things being done your way. And so when you relieve some of that anxiety and realize that there are people who can do things better than you, and that you're not the end all that beats all, then that really helps to release some of that control. But my goodness, not an overnight process at all.
So thinking back about your entrepreneurial path, what is the one thing that you did that you feel has been the most important to making Jill Celeste the Celestial Circle?
The most important thing I did was join a mastermind, for sure. Being part of a group, having a mentor, changed my business. Not only did I have a group of people who were entrepreneurs who got what my problems were, who understood my journey because they were on it too, but I also had a mentor to help me answer questions. And, a lot of people kind of look at you sideways when you're a marketing coach, hiring a marketing and business mentor, like, don't you know this stuff already? Of course I do, but it's not that's not what I'm there for. It's for the accountability and the support and the structure that a good mastermind will offer you. So I always invested in some type of mentorship and or mastermind with like-minded entrepreneurs. And that also beats that loneliness thing I mentioned earlier in the interview, right? That is for sure something I always will have in my business, no matter what.
Isn't it funny how people do that thought process of if you're a blank, why do you have a blank yourself?
Yes. Isn't that true? I'm thinking, Celine Dion had vocal coaching. you People who are NFL quarterbacks have coaches. It's just, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's an ego thing or just a way of processing their own mindset issues, but I have heard that many times in my career.
Yeah, I think part of that comes from this idea of the Lone Ranger, the self-made person, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and all that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And certainly, I know that's very prevalent in the US as well, right? That kind of self-made cowboy kind of image, cowgirl image. We pull ourselves up from our bootstraps. I think maybe even a cultural ramification, not just maybe exclusive to the US, but that's got me thinking that as well. I think you're onto something there.
I know for myself, the more help that I get, the better my business goes. Well, better my life goes, period.
Absolutely. And even like for those of us who manage a home, I'm married. I've got a couple boys, teenagers, and anything I can have done in my house that other service provider can provide, I do it. I'm very blessed to be able to afford it. I know that might be some consideration for some people, but I have people clean the house, do the lawn, manage the pool, because I live in Florida, so we have a pool. And yeah, we still have chores and things around the house, but just anything I can do that is not something I want to do, that keeps me in a good mindset. If somebody else does it for me, I'm happy to write that check every single time.
And that frees you up to do things that you love.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And the same with your business, right? Because I'm not great at Infusionsoft, which is the software I use to manage my customers. So I have a wonderful VA who does that, loves it, eats, breathes, sleeps Infusionsoft. And she does everything probably in record time. If I were to do it, it would take me an hour to do something that would take her 2 minutes. So God bless her, let her do it.
So it says here that you help teaches authentic marketing fundamentals. What is important about being authentic?
Well, so I think a lot of entrepreneurs especially, think marketing is slick, inauthentic, icky, yucky, whatever word you want to put there. And because we've seen examples of it. You can scroll down a Facebook newsfeed, for example, and see headlines that are very clickbait-ish. Make $10,000 this month, or fast forward to 6 figures, or blah, blah, blah. And people are very suspicious of those claims, understandably so. And it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. And so when you're an entrepreneur and you have that mindset that marketing is icky, sales is icky, then you don't feel too enthused about doing your own marketing, right? But there are ways to do marketing that don't have to feel icky and slick and just generally ucky. You can learn authentic marketing practices, which is what I teach. So things like, knowing who your ideal client is. So you're only, talking to those people, that audience. You're not trying to cast your net too wide, because that leads to being inauthentic. Making sure that you're writing a truthful information in your landing pages and in your emails, that you're showing your personal side. That's a lot of authenticity right there. And people see that your real life, that leads to an authentic connection as well. And so those are the types of things I teach through authentic marketing that doesn't make someone feel icky when they're implementing it.
And what's the benefit of showing the authenticity side?
The benefit of showing the authenticity side is that people can buy from a person, not a business. So if they get an idea of who you are, that whole know, like, trust factor is what is often the big battle in our marketing. We want people to know us, we want them to like us, and we want to be trustworthy. Because when those three things occur, we often will be able to serve that person. They'll be able to hire us. So the authentic marketing brings you through that know, like, trust factor often quite more quickly than other marketing methods, so that you can connect with people, so people will feel connected to you. And when that connections occur, that is when you make the sales. That's when you get the clients. That's when you get the referrals. It's really that sweet spot in your marketing. It doesn't happen overnight for sure, but it does happen faster than if you're trying to do something that feels out of integrity and out of alignment with yourself.
Looking over your bio, one thing I really enjoy is the idea that you said the role as director of marketing for their business.
Yeah. That's so true. Because a lot of times we say, oh, I'm a massage therapist, or I'm a marketing coach, or I'm a graphic designer, or I'm a life coach. But we are those things. We are certainly our trade, our profession. But what we are when we are a solopreneur, at least until you reach big time is you are the director of marketing for your business. What that means is everything you do in your business, I think marketing comes across your desk. You're in charge of it. And a lot of times entrepreneurs do is they forget that and they focus on other things. Well, those other things don't bring you clients. I had a conversation with a woman. I said, you're the director of marketing for your business. You have to find time for marketing. She said, well, I don't have time for marketing. I said, okay, I get it. Tell me what you're doing in your day. And the first thing out of her mouth was like, well, I have to empty the trash bin. I thought, well, and I wasn't picking on her, but it was a mindset. I'm like, you are placing emptying the trash bin before marketing, and you wonder why you don't have clients. It's a mindset shift. That's the last thing you should be doing after you're doing your marketing. So when you're the director of marketing for your business, you put marketing tasks first. You make time for marketing. It is the most essential thing you do in your business besides taking care of your clients. And you have a marketing plan to help you guide your marketing actions so that you're not feeling like you're just picking marketing tasks out of the sky. And so when you accept your role as director of marketing, these habits become part of your day. And that's when you really start to see the result of your marketing efforts. That's where the clients come, the revenue, the referrals, all those things that we're seeking.
But I also like the director part for when you actually do start making money, you start getting other people to help doing it for you.
Exactly. And eventually, when you are super successful, then you can have a director of marketing come in, and then you just become like the chief marketing officer where you're overseeing everything, but you don't necessarily do the marketing work, unless that's in your wheelhouse, of course. I don't know if I'd ever personally get rid of marketing in my business completely because I'm a marketer, but for some people who that's not 100% in their wheelhouse. So having that person on their team would helpful. But again, that's, when you hit six figures, that's when you start looking at that kind of addition to your team.
So do you have a fun success story from a client to share?
Oh my goodness, I have so many. I am so lucky to be working with a lot of people over the years. I think one of the many fun people that I've gotten to work with, but one in particular who I'm serving now through the Celestial Circle is a girl. I won't mention any names, but is a person who was trained as a doula. So a doula is a person who assists mothers with birth. They're sort of an advocate for the mom and the baby. She had been very successful doula practice. But the thing about being a doula is that your schedule's not your own, because babies come when babies come, right? They're not on anyone's schedule unless you're being induced or something. And so it was taxing for her. She's a mom, married, etc. So she decided that she wanted to still have a doula business, but she wanted other doulas to come under her umbrella. And she was terrified because she had her way. She had an excellent reputation as a doula, and we wanted things done her way, right? That's so common with entrepreneurs. But she just started finding doulas and training them in her methodology, in her practice. And before you know it, she had a couple doulas under her belt. And now she's at the luxury where if she wants to be at that birth, she absolutely can. But she doesn't have to be, because she's got a team of experienced, loving doulas who will go to the birth on behalf of the company. And she's returned time back to her schedule. So now she's doing other things to grow her business, such as coaching. She just had her second 5-figure month ever by leveraging this. And so it's fun because, she went from living by the cell phone ringing and running to the hospital or birthing center to just saying, so-and-so, you go take care of this patient, or so-and-so, you go take care of this mom. And she just sits back and does other things while still loving these families. So that's a cool thing. And I'm very proud of her.
So how did your process help her accomplishing that?
Well, the first thing, again, a lot of that was an operational piece, which operations does play into marketing. But first and foremost, you have to hit the mindset, right? That she can absolutely teach her methodology. So one of the things we worked on was what her methodology was. What I mean by that is the step-by-step process that she has that's sort of proprietary to her. And then talking about writing job descriptions, making sure that she had everything she needed to find the right doulas. So that's the first thing. And then we switched to the marketing, because what was interesting with her is she was known by her first and last name, right? That was how it worked. We had to switch to less of a personality-based business and more process-based business. So in our marketing, we tackled that maybe Nicole is not in the labor and delivery room with you. And so we talked about the marketing messaging and how that helps the moms the sense of security that they would feel by knowing somebody was under Nicole's mentorship, that type of thing. So it was a many faceted process from an operations side as well as marketing. It was a lot of fun to working on her mindset, giving her the bravery and the self-worth and the self-confidence to go down that path. That's a big, scary path to go down. You do it in baby steps though. Not everything's done. You can't just flip a switch. It's a baby step process. And that's what we worked on a lot together.
Oh, how so many people sell that switch.
No, the switch does not exist. Sorry. Hate to break it to everybody. That's the clickbaity, inauthentic thing. That's what people are so turned off by, is that kind of claim.
And it's very easy to get suckered into it sometimes, especially
true.
When you're feeling all desperate and like, I just want to turn everything around.
Yeah. And I think that's why I get so aggravated with fellow marketing and business coaches. And maybe they get aggravated at me, but I'm like, stop promising the sky. This marketing and running your business is hard work. It takes time. It takes elbow grease. It takes patience. There's no such thing as an overnight get rich formula. It's just snake oil at that point. You have to do the work and you have to do the time. And that's where you get the results. I wish there was a magic pill because I would take it.
So we're getting to the end of our time. And one thing that I love to ask for my guests to give is a 1 minute of motivation, kind of reducing your message into 1 minute, or thinking of it as you have a time machine, you get to go back to your 8-year-old self and you have 8 minutes to give yourself all the juicy details you need to set yourself up for success.
So I got a minute to do that, right? Okay.
Yes.
So the first thing I would say is you are worthy of everything that you want in your life. Don't let anybody tell you any differently, because you know what you're worth. And depending on your religious and spiritual beliefs, the universe, God, Buddha, whoever knows your worth as well. And so always lean into that, especially during times when it feels like others are against you or telling you that can't happen. So that would be my first motivational moment there, leading into the following thing, which is you are enough, you are capable, and you can do anything you set your mind to. Be confident. Surround yourself with people who will lift and support you. And if they don't, then lovingly release them from your life, because they will just suck you down into a drain that you don't want to go down. And that would be my piece there.
Nice. Well, thank you, Jill, for being on my podcast. I love your message of authentic marketing and because for my people buy from people instead of buying from businesses. And the more you can help people market themselves, the more people can get themselves out there. Because if you are a purpose-based entrepreneur with the idea of making the world a better place, if nobody knows about it, well, the world's not going to get any better. So helping people to share their light upon the world so that they can make this world what it deserves to be, which is heaven on earth. I thank you very much for doing so.
Thank you. And that's exactly what I believe too, Brett. And we need our light workers to change the world. We're at a bit of a crossroads, I believe. If I can help them their marketing to do that, I am honored to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I will probably talk to you someday in the future.
Okay. Thanks, Brett.
And there you have it, folks. Wasn't that a great interview talking with Celeste? I love her message of authenticity, being authentic in your marketing message. And one thing that I noticed over and over again, especially with these people who make it, is to really focus on your brilliance. Yes, at first you have to be everything, but really focus on what you do well. And when you start making that sweet, sweet money, you hire people to do the things you don't like. And it could be just something simple like clean your house. I know, even though this is sort of different, when I talked about the Lightworker Toastmasters, I got somebody's help who was good at dotting the T's and crossing the I's, or the opposite, because I just messed up. And because of that, I was free to do more advertising and just energetically free. I love the way Jill was talking about that. And the director of marketing is such a good idea because you are the CEO if you're a business. You're the director of marketing, you're HR, you're everything. And to think of yourself as the director, because as director, you're in charge of marketing. And once you can afford it, to hire people below you to help you with that marketing, getting a VA, getting someone so you don't have to make every social media thingamajigger, to trusting yourself to becoming bigger, to growing better. Because that's what this is all about, is getting better. Because the more you grow personally, the more your business will grow. I know I can speak for myself when my marketing is not authentic. It's hard to do. It's hard to do it. Also about marketing has to be something you like to do. Because if you're forcing yourself to do it, so find a way to enjoy the marketing, enjoy the getting your message out there, making an impact. One thing I was thinking of, mostly because of the thing from yesterday, Aaron Lohman Jack and the Lightworker Toastmasters, if you come through marketing as if you're doing the person a favor because if they work with you, then they will be helped. And that's the joy of Jill Celeste, someone who can help you. So if you want more information about Jill Celeste and her wonderful The Celestial Circle, visit www.thecelestialcircle.com. There, it's not there. Haha. What happens when you talk before you read? To get a free copy of Jill's top 25 Amazon best-selling book, That First Client, go to www.thatfirstclient.com. I definitely know you'd want to at least call Celeste and get in touch with her. I know she has a Facebook group that you can be a part of, so check it out. I enjoyed watching her videos. I've did a couple challenges with her, and she's motivating, inspiring, and all that jazz. Thank you for listening to lucky episode number 13 of the Joyous Expansion podcast. I do apologize for not getting these out weekly, but since they're not very much listened to as I'd like, probably not upsetting too many people other than disappointing myself. But that's life, one learning experience after another. I never thought I'd be this busy. Plus getting sick and hurt didn't help. Whatever, life is a learning experience and I enjoy doing this and I love it, and there will be more episodes. They just won't be weekly like I hoped. Or maybe they will be someday. I don't know. That's the future. So if you want to get in touch with me, Brett Dupree, just send me an email at bre2ts2upr2es@joyousexpansion.com. You can ask me a question. I'll read it on the podcast and then I'll answer it. How fun would that be? You can check me out at joyousexpansion.com. Yes, Brett Dupree. I didn't go through all the things today because I forgot, but Joyous Expansion Life Coach, Catalyst of Transformation, Champion of Authentic Joy. Someone who loves to raise tides so all ships can go up and send much love into this world. Time to make an impact, my friends, and go forth. If you want to do you want to listen to more podcasts, go to pod.joyousexpansion.com. And there you can see an affiliate link for Acuity Scheduling if you feel like helping me out and using an amazing scheduling program. I also have a free ebook there. You should also check that out at pod.joyousexpansion.com. So this has been the 13th episode of the Joyous Expansion Podcast. Know that I love you for who you are. And once again, I remind you to be joy, to be love, to be awesome. Now play my jingle.
JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Come and say hello to Brett Dupree. He is an inspirational life coach. Good for you and good for me. He turned my life from grey to blue. I'm sure he'll do the same for you. Get in touch and you'll see your life will change dramatically. JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Yeah.